Iraklii, I'll ask you about this enhanced readiness, which the minister mentioned just a moment ago. What does that translate into specifically? How are you getting ready for these unexpected actions that Russia or the Kremlin might come up with?
Thank you very much. I really fully agree with the statements made by the First Deputy Minister. Of course, facing existential threats requires a comprehensive approach, and respectively, defense and deterrence cannot be only left to those in uniform, because sub-threshold activities requires a more comprehensive approach, which Georgia is actively involved in together with its international partners. Georgia is building its defense capabilities in strict conformity with defense and deterrence priorities of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. We are strengthening our security. We are strengthening our security against hybrid threats, such as resilience building against cyber attacks, which Russia has been waging against Georgia, especially for the last several years. We are building our resilience to counter Russian disinformation and strengthen strategic communications. And this is a comprehensive and large-scale activities which we implement together with our partners. However, it should be very clear that Russian activities in the region are very alarming. Their dynamics and evolving over time demonstrate that Russia has become more assertive, more aggressive, and more dangerous. And regardless of the responses from the international community so far, it has not altered its behavior. And continuity with the Soviet era and even earlier periods of Russian history is a hallmark of present Russian policy, and core components of the current Russian toolkit unfortunately have withstood test of time, and there's every indication that Moscow will continue to rely on them even in the post-Putin era, because it believes it can operate, with nearly absolute impunity. And the Kremlin has established a continuum between and among the military and non-military means to conduct the unified campaigns. It considers hybrid war as a whole of the government activity, up to and including the use of conventional military forces. And the Russian toolkit of hybrid means is different for each country because they represent diverse theaters of operation for the Russian regime, and different tools are therefore deployed to different degrees to obtain different results. And closer the country is to Russia, the more exposed it becomes in terms of diversity and impact of hybrid tools employed against it. And since regaining independence, Georgia has experienced full scale of Russian conventional and hybrid warfare, ranging from the military aggression to sub-threshold activities such as de facto annexation steps, ongoing borderization, cyber attack, disinformation campaigns, economic pressure, and our country is responding to those existential threats with resolve and with particular targeted steps in the military and in other domains. However, it should be emphasized that small country like Georgia in this part of the world, with large-scale Russian military presence in its two occupied regions, which at the same time is subjected to full spectrum of hybrid threats, cannot tackle threats emanating from Russia alone. The burden of frontliners like Georgia and the Ukraine is the hardest, and respectively, stronger support is required. Countering Russian aggression and malign influence in the region requires a common and unified approach, clear and comprehensive Western strategy. The various and sometimes divergent interests of the countries in the region has made it difficult so far to frame the one. And the respectively impediments also have included lack of common threat perception among Black Sea states, similar to those that Baltic and other Northern European states share, unlike certain Black Sea states. And also, even as there is EU and NATO broad acceptance of the looming Russian threats, in Northern Europe, relatively less attention in comparison has been devoted to Black Sea security. And lack of coherent strategy also, I think, stems from the divergent views among European nations about whether the Black Sea region is an integral part of Europe or it is just in the neighborhood. And it is critically important that European governments, NATO allies view Black Sea region as integral part of Europe and support policies that promote prosperity, that promote security, and stronger efforts to help regional states resist Russian aggression. And those states, I mean the allies and the EU member states, should stop fearing the risks of provoking further Russian aggression and should realize that ceding to Russia encourages further aggression and meddling not only in partner states, but in the allies' affairs as well, negatively affecting Euro-Atlantic security. And I would briefly name certain steps which, in our judgment, is of the utmost importance to reach a effective results. All NATO members should understand that keeping Georgia in limbo undermines the alliance's credibility and reinforces Russian narrative that West does not need Georgia, West does not need Ukraine. And short of a sea of change in Russian thinking, Moscow will continue to view NATO as a threat, regardless of who sits in Kremlin, respectively. Invitation of Georgia to join NATO, invitation of Ukraine within reasonable timeframes is highly important. Georgia, as the most advanced NATO aspirant nation and enhanced opportunities partner, has proven throughout the years that it fully shares Euro-Atlantic values, that Georgia is not only willing, but also able to further the principles of the Washington Treaty. And importantly, Georgia has significant and even more experience to contributing to Euro-Atlantic security than certain allies. And Secretary General has stated a number of times that partnership with Georgia makes us all safe and secure, and respectively for the future NATO to be stronger politically, to be stronger militarily, and to be more global. Having Georgia as an ally is critically important. Further, a stronger consolidation of the international community is crucially important to exert pressure on the Russian Federation to fulfill 6-point ceasefire agreement and to force it to withdraw from Georgia. We signed the agreement with the EU mediation, and there must be a stronger EU engagement in the process. The international community shall not only be clear, but also credible in demonstrating to Russia that forcibly redrawing borders in Europe and undermining rules-based international order will have consequences. And the allies and EU members have also to redouble the efforts to assist countries in the region to counter diverse hybrid threats ranging from information and cyber to economic and clandestine character, including capacity building to strengthen strategic communications and to counter false Russian narratives. And it is equally important to expand intelligence sharing through bilateral mechanisms, such as in partnership with different countries, also with NATO's new Joint Intelligence Security Division, and to have a common response to threats in this part of the world. And West shall more actively engage in economic development of the region, because a strong economy is critical to building stability in the Black Sea region. That's very important, and more has to be done to strengthen connectivity of this part of the world and to fully exploit the transport and economic potential of the Black Sea. But for that purpose, also a more robust conventional deterrent posture is needed beyond the NATO, I would say, tailored forward presence, which could include expanded United States and non-littoral NATO naval presence and exercises, and also achieving sea denial so that Russia Black Sea Fleet is unable to enjoy complete freedom of navigation and maneuver is also feasible. And we, of course, as everyone knows, highly welcome the increased presence of the allies in this part of the world, in the region, on the Black Sea, on the land, in air, and in the maritime domain. And of course, last but not least, continued security assistance to strengthen the Black Sea states' resilience and self-defense capabilities, backed by the allied cohesion, which could temper and prevent further Russian aggression and could hold Russia liable for all the activities it has implemented so far.
Thank you very much for this statement.